Live. It's lunchtime, and 12 o'clock on the nose. So we're live today. Another great episode of Lunchtime Talk with Steve. And today we have Terrence Patterson in here with us, and he's going to talk to us about his web series, which is called Half Past Jump Time. And this is actually a pretty cool series. And the thing is too, for a young Black entrepreneur, and he has a web series on Amazon, so it's pretty cool. This is a big thing. We're going to be back in just a moment to talk with him, but in the meantime, go ahead and share it out with your friends, your relatives, your favorite groups, everyone. Just let them know that Steve is on and we're here with Terrence. We'll be back in just a moment. All right, and we're back. So I know you guys are still sharing it with your friends, your relatives, and everyone else, and I appreciate that. So let's go ahead and bring Terrence in and see what half past jump time is all about. Back back in school, it was like that was the time they're going to jump you after school. So so you made sure you weren't on the playground at half past jump time because you're getting jumped.
Exactly. Thank you for having me, Terrence Patterson, President and CEO of Paragon Multimedia. Here to talk about my web series, Half Past Jump Time.
All right. So what inspired you? Well, actually, let's go ahead and talk about Half Past Jump Time. Explain to my viewers a little bit about it, because it's a little bit different than the normal web series that we see, and and just the name of it, it sounds like dancing, and that's what, and we want to find out more about what the whole idea was behind Half Past Jump Time, and and what it is that that you want the viewers to get out of it.
Sure. Okay, we'll start with the inspiration for the story. It actually came about from conversations that I had with my grandmother back when I was a child, and I lived in Florida, and she had lived in Harlem for about 9 to 10 months before she got married to my grandfather and moved to Florida to, with my mother and her siblings. And those stories kind of resonated with me. So, she told me about some interesting characters. She lived in a rooming house, and then she actually moved in with a relative. So she got to be in the midst of something that I only got to read in story, in history books. So that's fast forward years later. I moved to New York. I like a lot of people, wanted to be an actor. Didn't work out so well, but I was a better producer and better writer. So for many years, I produced an off-Broadway play, and then called The Newlyweds with the great producer Beverly Roscoe Simmons. And then we were also doing film as well. But at that time, it wasn't anything near what it is now as far as African-American representation and being able to get the funds. So that kind of was an impediment for us to get the success that we were looking after. But I eventually opened up my own company, Paragon Multimedia, and Half Past Jump Time came from those stories from my grandmother. So the series itself is a sci-fi action adventure drama. It is about and told around the stories of Harriet LaCroix, who is a Harlem Renaissance time traveler. She owns a speakeasy in Harlem in the 1920s. She's on the verge. When we entered the story, she's on the verge of losing that and also losing her power to time travel, because she has to pick an heir to this ring that allows her to time travel. That is ancestral. That goes through her family bloodline. So she has to choose an heir. She chooses an heir. Her name is Aaliyah, who lives here in modern day New York, and she is a hip hop dancer, actress, singer, all around performer. She is supporting her mother, who suffers from epilepsy, and she has a younger sister who she's helped put through school. So when we enter the story with her, she's not able, especially with things going on now, she's not able to make money to pay for her mom's insurance. So there's that factor. And then her sister may have to drop out of school. So when Harriet makes a decision to time travel to current day New York, she propositions her to come back to 1920s and help her keep her speakeasy open. And then along the way, we get to meet some interesting people. A lot of the luminaries, of course, if we could use them in the series from copyright issues like Josephine Baker, County Cullen, those types of people. And then also the everyday people, the people that are going to be working in the speakeasy. We'll get to follow their lives as well, because I thought it was important that we really kind of deep dive into the Harlem Renaissance era, since it's talked about a lot, and there have been a lot of great programs and movies about it. I think I wanted to just make it more granular, make it more accessible, so that everyday people can see what it was like living then, and just oppose that to what's going on now, and also look at the parallels being the pandemic, of course, the Spanish flu pandemic back in 1918, racial inequality, which is definitely something on the forefront now, police brutality, women rights. Steve, really the main reason I really did the show was to kind of juxtaposition between my grandmother and her life in the 1920s and mine living here in New York. I'm well past 20 now, but still, just as a young person living in New York, just wanted to kind of see how things change, or have our lives been. I'm thinking in my mind, things have gotten better. We have a lot more opportunities, but still there are a lot of impediments from social, economic, financial, just a lot of things. So I just want to kind of tell the story from an African-American experience. That's multicultural though, because this is New York. So it will be multicultural as far as the people, but I just wanted to kind of have a history lesson, but still people be entertained. And then the backdrop of all of that is hip hop dance, which I wanted to highlight and bring that back to 1920s, just something new that they had never seen, of course, in 1920s, and kind of utilize that to make her speakeasy famous. And hopefully that will help Harriet in some of the decisions that she has to make. And each week we will, as you know, once we get out of the introductory part of the story, we will tackle different issues each week in each episode that I think will be relevant for the time. So yeah, that's kind of the show.
That's good. That's awesome. And how long have you had the series? How long has it been on Amazon?
And it's been a little over a year. We have a couple episodes up. We were, of course, like a lot of people as an entrepreneur in creative arts, finances is always an issue. It's always needed. Anybody who owns a business understands that. Anyone who works understands. Money kind of moves things around. So we were actually in the midst of starting production of episodes, 4 episodes, as far as pre-production and rehearsals. And then unfortunately COVID happened. So the studio that we were going to do it in shut down, and New York shut down, and kind of now we're just going to probably pivot and do something else. Most likely it'll be a reading of a few of those episodes, like on a Zoom type atmosphere for the actors, so that people can still be engaged with the story. And then once things become more safer, then we'll start to do some more production on it. But then I have another animation that I'm working on as well in the meantime, because that's something that doesn't require people being on set and all of the health
concerns
that go into it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about that one, if you know.
Yeah, I'll tell you a little bit. Yes, pre-production.
This is a Lunchtime with Steve exclusive, okay?
Okay, yeah. Absolutely. I haven't really talked about it that much, so that's actually is kind of an exclusive. It is a story called Gemini Dark. It is about a intergalactic spy. She's Black. She's from outer space, and she crash lands in Brooklyn. She meets a set of twins, and she her storylines revolve around this issue of a statistic that I read. I don't know how, the internet, sometimes you gotta be kind of careful what you quote. But there was this, anyway, but why I'm saying that is because there was an article I read. I think it was like 64,000 maybe missing men, women, and children in this time period, African American and Latino, and no one's looking for them because those cases go cold really quickly. They don't jump on them immediately, and that kind of stuck out to me. And a lot of them were young African American women and men, and Latina, and they're just missing. Like nobody's looking for these people. Like so. My part in trying to address that issue is that'll be a part of her storyline. Once she crash lands here in Brooklyn and not able to go back to her home planet, she will learn some martial arts and some other things, but I don't want to give too much away. But I think it's going to be, I know it's going to be a really good series, relevant for the time. And it's good to have a Black female superhero. So
definitely.
Yeah.
They had one on Black Lightning, but that was about it.
Yeah. And then, of course we had Black Panther, which is great too, I wish I'd been a part of that, but
Yeah, and I like what you're talking about with bringing that to the forefront, because I remember years ago I was watching an episode of CSI Miami, and that was one of the things. There were I think 2 Black girls disappeared, nothing.
Yeah,
a Hispanic girl disappeared, nothing.
Yeah,
a white girl disappeared, and all of a sudden the FBI, the news, everyone came around. And at the end of it, when they solved the case of the white girl's disappearance, the star of the show, can't remember his name now, but he played a part of Horatio. But at the end of it, he handed the reporter and the FBI agent a piece of paper each, and they were like, "What's this?" And he goes, "This is a list of people that disappeared the same time as her. Aren't you going to look for them?" Right. And they just looked at it and just walked away. It was like,
I mean, that resonates with you, because I have nieces, I have, people in my life who, if something happened to them, I would want somebody to do something. I would want, there to be some concerted effort to kind of find the person. But also to talk about that as well. There are other shows now that are kind of highlighting that. Insecure did a really good job over this season with their backstory with the missing young lady. And it brought some light to it also. And I think The Shy also has a main character who is missing now on that show. So they're bringing a lot of people bringing, shout out to Lena Waithe for doing that as well on that particular. And somebody else I would love to work with one day, just for bringing that to the forefront because their lives are important. They matter, and people need to be looking for them. And I understand that maybe we don't have the bandwidth to do it, so maybe we need to have some way of doing it from a community level, because we can't just have missing kids, because that's a whole generation that could be gone.
Exactly.
That's just me.
Exactly. And not just and I mean, when you think about it, those are doctors, lawyers, and other ones that potential doctors and lawyers that are gone. Correct. It's like that one person could have been a senator, a president, or whatever,
right? Or a civil rights leader, something like that.
Exactly.
It's helping to move the culture forward. So we need to be looking for those people. So that's going to be the focus of that story.
All right. Give me just a moment and I'll be back in just 2 minutes. Actually a little bit longer than 2 minutes, but I'll be right back with you guys. I just got to take a quick commercial break. All right.
Baby, won't you take me there? I want some real good food to eat. I want shucking and jiving.
that's what it is. Come on down and shuck it and jive and Cajun food with an old school groove. Our designers to get your taste palette back in line, baby. Follow us at We Shuck It.
Let me tell you about CCTV RX. With over 30 years in the security industry here in South Florida, they have proven themselves to be the first choice when it comes to security professionals. So whether you're trying to secure your home or your business, there's no other choice. Give them a call today for a free estimate. 754-213-2820. If your car could talk, it would say call Curvin's Car Detailing Service. It's mobile and they can come to you no matter where you are in Broward County. Give Curvin a call, 954-549-8507, and tell him that Steve sent you. All right, guys, we're back and we're here with Terrence Patterson. He's talking to us about his web series. It's actually his Amazon series, which is called Half Past Jump Time. And, so he's explained to us a little bit more about that and also about some of the upcoming projects. Hey, Terrence, welcome back.
Good, thank you.
All right.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
No, so I was gonna say, you mentioned that your grandmother was a big influence in your life, and then your show. Who else has been that influence for you? Especially, I know personally she's been a great influence, but what about professionally?
Professionally, I would have to say Beverly Orozco Simmons, who I worked with for many years, probably like 10 years. She's the main reason that I entered this industry as opposed to going to law school, because I came to New York. I said, I'm gonna give myself a year. If I didn't do something as far as entertainment is concerned, then I was gonna go to law school. And
so it was either
yeah.
You could have combined the two and become like the Black Perry Mason or something.
that or I actually, if I had gone to law school, I probably should have been more of an entertainment attorney. I didn't think about that as being an option at the time. And then also the loans that I would have to take out, that kind of deterred me as well, because I just finished undergrad. When you finish undergrad and you go to a liberal arts school, it's expensive. So my parents paid some, I paid some, but so I'm sorry, what's the question again? Sorry.
No, you were answering. You did actually answer it. Who was your influence professionally?
Okay, Beverly. Yeah, she had her own production company, DD Pictures. That's how I got into it. We actually were consultants at a bank many years ago, on Long Island, and she was. We were taking a lunch break, and she was actually reading a script that she had written. I had no idea that she'd gone to NYU Film School. So we were sitting there having lunch, and I was like, "Yo, what are you reading?" And she said, "Hey, this is a script that I'm going to be filming and producing." I was like, "That you do that?" She was like, "Yeah, I went to school for that." So long story short, I came under a company, started reading scripts, and then I started to do more development. And then at the time, if we couldn't convert some of them to film, we actually turned one into a off-Broadway play, The Newlyweds, which we did for about 10 years. Probably had about 100 performances at the American Theater of Actors on West 54th. So yeah, that was a good time. She's no longer with us, but she's definitely been a huge influence. And the reason that I do a lot of my projects now is just to carry on that spark that she gave me as far as being able to make a living in entertainment, as opposed to a traditional job. Because my parents kind of wanted me to, of course, go to law school. But then they were supportive, so they are supportive. So they were okay with me transitioning to entertainment. But yeah, and then after I worked for Beverly, then that's when I opened up my own company, Paragon Multimedia, and now I'm just doing the streaming. And that's kind of where we are right now. But I'm very thankful for her leadership and all the things, her fearlessness. She was probably one of the hardest working people I've ever seen. We both had day jobs in the beginning, and we would, I worked in, actually the irony is I did work in a law firm actually. So that ended up, yeah, exactly. You think you got away from it, but it ended up working at it. Doing project management from an IT perspective. So that's a whole nother life that I had. But we would work during the day, but at night at 6 o'clock, she had a kid as well. She has a young daughter, had a young daughter at the time. And she would, do things with her, and then we would be on the phone from like 8 to 2 in the morning, just doing her, me helping out with the company, just that whole thing, and then getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning, getting on the subway, going to Manhattan. So that was my life for a long time. But I learned a lot from her. I mean, for someone who was probably, I think she was like 5'6", 5'7", she was fearless, and just, she would, whenever we would go to meetings, she would take over. Like, she just had a really big person, all because she was passionate about what she did. And I think that's what she taught me a lot. If you're going to do something, I mean, I know it's a cliche to be passionate, but you really have to feel it in your bone. You have to feel like you can't survive without it. And if you don't feel that way about it, then it's not your passion. And when she said that to me, that clicked. And ever since then, I just been, every day I wake up, it's about me trying to be a better storyteller and surrounding myself with good people, and just trying to make it work. Just, being an African-American entrepreneur, or any entrepreneur, is hard. You have to be your own cheerleader. You got to be able to work with people, make sure that you are a leader, and then make decisions when you think you don't really have an answer for things. You got to be able to pivot, and also, like I said, hire people that can uplift you and have great skills, and then let them do their job instead of micromanaging, which is the main reason why I don't want to work for anyone else, or haven't worked for anyone else, is for the micromanaging. That's what really drove me to be an entrepreneur, because I never understood that whole, I'm going to be on your back and make sure you get everything done. But the time that you're doing that, I could have done my job and completed the task. Yeah, and you could have been doing your job. But, that's just, that's a whole other topic we could talk about, working in America. So.
And I like what you were saying too about being passionate, because that's one of the things that that drives me to do what I do here. And a lot of times I do, it takes a lot of work. I'm up till sometimes 2, 3 in the morning. Sometimes I don't get a chance to sleep preparing for the next show. And because I do a daily show, it's a lot. So I prepare 2 or 3 shows at a time. So, someone was asking me, why do you do that? Isn't it a lot of work? And I was like, yeah, but think about it this way. Would you walk 2 miles for a bottle of water? And they were like, no. I said, what if you were really thirsty? You were in the middle of the desert. Would you walk 2 miles for that bottle of water then? And they were like, yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm in the desert right now, and I'm looking and I need that bottle of water. So it doesn't matter how far I have to walk. I'm walking for that water.
That's a good analogy. I had never thought about it that way. You're right. If I was in the desert, you're definitely going to walk, because you need it. It's going to sustain. It's going to keep you the sustenance that you're going to need. So that's how I feel about when I get up and write, or right now I'm getting illustrations done for the animation that I told you about, working with a writer. So all those things, like you said, it just kind of motivates me every day. If I didn't have passion for it, I just don't think that I would be able to do it, because it just wouldn't make sense to me. So exactly,
you have to have that passion. You have to.
Right.
And that's one of the things I think a lot of people miss. We get a lot of entrepreneurs that fall into the multi-level marketing and all kind of stuff. Oh, this person said they make $5,000 a month, and this person said they make $10,000 a week. Right, if it's not your passion, you're not going to make a dime. Whereas you can have the passion, for dirt, and you're going to make money because it's your passion. you know?
Exactly. Like I think Steve Harvey there's something on YouTube, one of those inspirational things that he has. There's a little clip where he talks about one of his friends, I think in Chicago, whatever. I think it's Chicago suburbs, who cut lawns. His thing was, doing yard work, and the guy built himself up and then started branching out and everything, became a multimillionaire doing that, because that's what he was good at. And I've always thought about that. Like, if people don't have an idea of what their passion is, just figure out what you're good at. Do you like hair? Do you like doing nails? Do you like making film? Do you like making people healthy? Do you want to be a doctor? Do you want to be a nurse? There's so many things that you can do. And if you don't know, then the internet is, of all the bad things of the internet, a lot of good things you can be found on, about how you can just kind of look and see what other people are doing with their lives. Filmmakers, if you never thought that, if forever, neighborhood that you're in, if you don't have any people who are doing film, why don't you be one of the first people to do that? You could be 12 and get your camera phone with your friends, sit down, write a script. You can go online and figure out how to write a script. Everything is accessible now that you can do, and you can make it happen. I'm glad to see now that they're young entrepreneurs, like, little kids, like 12 years old. That one kid, I think Damon John, he supported a kid, I think on Shark Tank, with the bow ties. Like, it's good to see that kids are being entrepreneurs, because
I think it was called.
Yeah. I don't want to, I don't want to get off topic, but just the whole automation and artificial intelligence, it's going to hit us hard, African American, Latino hard, because of a lot of the jobs and society has, kind of put us in and not giving us opportunities. If we don't get ahead of this game with automation and artificial intelligence, how it's going to take away jobs, either we need to be writing the code, forming companies that do that, self-driving. I love for us to be ahead of the curve on that, because it's going to impact it's not going to happen tomorrow, but I would say in 15, 20 years, it's starting to happen. It happened to me with my law firm, which is why I don't work at the job that I had. I was going to be an entrepreneur anyway, but I handle big databases of data that work when I work with litigation attorneys, litigation teams, and we would travel over the country. Now, artificial intelligence can't do what I did. So essentially,
Power BI, you have ClickView, and they could at a click of the thing, they could do everything.
And it affects attorneys too. People don't understand attorneys used to get paid and billed to look through all these reams of documents, reams of emails and documents, attachments, and all of that. Now they don't have to hire as many attorneys now because artificial intelligence can do it. So it's affecting everybody. People think it's just blue collar. It's going to be white collar as well, because it affected me. So I think everybody I think it's something that needs to be talked about more, because it's gonna happen sooner rather than later.
And something that you were mentioning before too about that 12-year-old that can pick up their phone and start making their own series on YouTube or anything else. Right. And this pandemic actually creates that opportunity, because we can see that child that's 12 years old, like you were just making a comparison over 100 years from 1918 to today. Right. That child can see from March to today. Right. And we went through so many stages, and from what they're saying, we might be going through another stage of a shutdown. So that child can actually pick up the phone, go and see what it was, even if they don't have any footage from before, talk to people. Hey, how did the pandemic change you? And these are opportunities, so they could become the next Terrence Patterson,
Right, or they can Spike Lee or Lena Waithe or Ava DuVernay, any of those great people. I mean, they could even do it simply about what is it like being 24/7 with your parents, your siblings, just in the home. Like that could be your story. Like I'm sure funny things have happened in people's house. Like you really get to know your family once you're locked down with them. Like this is different now than what it used to be. Kids who go to school 8 hours a day and then they don't have to. They're not with their parents all day. Now you are in a fishbowl, kind of so to speak, and you have to interact. So that could be a story. Just how it is living now with your parents and they're 24/7. Nobody's going to work. That kind of thing. That could be a series for them.
And actually, if you look at what's that show, The Goldbergs, that's what it was. That's what it was. This kid had a video camera and he recorded stuff, and now he sold it as a series, and boom, look, you know what I mean? And so you can make millions off of things like that. Right. Give me just another moment. Of course, I got to take another pause for the cause. You know how this.
Hey, because we got to pay the bills, right?
I know, right? We'll be back with you guys in 2 minutes. Let me tell you about CCTV RX. With over 30 years in the security industry here in South Florida, they have proven themselves to be the first choice when it comes to security professionals. So whether you're trying to secure your home or your business, there's no other choice. Give them a call today for a free estimate. 754-213-2820. If your car could talk, it would say call Curvin's Car Detailing Service. It's mobile and they can come to you no matter where you are in Broward County. Give Curvin a call, 954-549-8507, and tell him that Steve sent you.
Baby, won't you take me there? I want some real good food to eat. I want shucking and jiving, shucking and jiving. I want shucking and jiving.
is what it is. Come on down and shuck it and jive it. Cajun food with an old school groove. Our designers to get your taste palette back in line, baby. Follow us at We Shuck It.
All right, and we are back with Terrence Patterson talking about his web series, his Amazon. Is it Amazon Web? It streams on any Amazon platform, correct?
Yeah, Amazon Prime, yes. And also, we have it on Facebook and we have it on our website, halfpastjumptime.com, where you can get information on me, the cast and the crew, and some episodes as well. So, yeah, that's a place to go and get some information about it.
So you guys that have Amazon Prime, check it out. Half Past Jump Time, all right? And Oro, we have a comment here. Oro was actually saying, true, there's so many stories on lockdown.
Yeah. Because it's different now. I'm sure spouses now are like, they've been saying, that people have been, fighting more and all of that. Just because we're so in close proximity. It's funny now, people didn't want to go to work, but now people want to go to work now. They just want to be able to get out the house and do whatever it is that they need to do. And I feel the same way.
Are you sure the job's not open? Really?
Exactly.
We can still get in though, right? We can.
Exactly. If it wasn't for COVID, we wouldn't be locked down anyway. But if it wasn't for that, everybody would want to be back at work. But even if we go back, are you going to be safe? So
exactly. So how has the whole pandemic changed your life? You were talking about professionally where you guys had to shut down production, but your life personally, how has it changed?
It's a series of being in the house a lot. New York was a hotbed, and we still have some cases going, but I am one of those overcautious people. I put masks on everywhere. If I go to a local bodega here, I put the mask on and gloves. I do see a lot of people that don't have it on, but that's their choice. But I do. I make sure that I'm, but it's changed because, New York, it is the epitome of everything moving fast and all. It is that. It really, truly is that. But now we're all stationary now, and this is weird. I haven't been on the subway since February. And
wow.
February was the last time that I felt like I could have been on the subway with a mask. So after that, I have not been on it. If I have to go anywhere, it's either, maybe an Uber, but mostly I stay home. Just because I don't know what's going on. There's a lot that we don't know about it, and I just rather be, cautious than not. So,
and were you always on the subway? Was that like a daily thing for you before that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Going in the city to meetings, going into the city for rehearsals, for dance rehearsals, and the narrative rehearsals that we had. I have a workspace I used to work out of near Park Avenue and 27th. So I can't go there anymore because it was creative space with a lot of creative people that, we could feed off each other. So it's been an adjustment, but I've just been kind of, for me, I had to just keep moving forward because I didn't want to be stagnant as far as my company because we're not going to grow if we're not going to keep things going. So I just been kind of keeping myself busy with work, spending time with family, of course, as we're in lockdown. But other than that, I think everybody's life has kind of changed drastically. That you really have to double think things now about, when you go to a store, when you're touching the doorknob, or when those things, you just don't even think about it now. If you don't have gloves, you're like, wow, and being around people who, or being around a lot of people, because I haven't been around a lot of people since the pandemic, since it started, because, I've been home. So I haven't ventured out anywhere other, what a large grouping of massive people have grouped around. But other than that, life has changed drastically, but we just hope that it can get as, back to normal as possible. But that normal is going to be different though. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's so funny. And I was talking to my daughter. My daughter's 18, and I was talking to her about how things. Because at first she was like, I think it's gonna go back to normal. I'm like, no, it's not gonna go back to normal. I'm like, every time something changes, it's that change stays. And then I started talking about when people used to be able to smoke on an airplane, and she couldn't even imagine that.
Yeah, and in an office when I first got, people used to smoke in their offices. So yeah,
and in the restaurant. When you went on an airplane, you didn't have to take off your shoes and all these different things.
Yeah.
He's like, really? And I'm like, yeah.
This is, it's like a whole different world. And for those things you talked about earlier, like taking off the shoes and all that, those are gradual steps that we had to take. But with COVID, it hit us all at once. Like lockdown, you can't go anywhere, you can't send your kids to school. Like everybody's life changed. Everybody. And it's just different now. And that's funny. I hadn't thought about that. That my nieces and nephews, around her age, they probably did grow up in that world thinking this is normal, how we do things, and we're like, no, there used to be a time where we didn't have to do any of that. You know, I mean, I could have people like, back in the day when I was in Atlanta in college at Oglethorpe, if I had somebody, drop me off at Hartsfield, at the airport, they could take me all the way to the gate, sit with me at the gate at that time. You cannot do that now. They could drive and drop you off right there and sit for a minute and talk. Now it's like you got to drop off and move. You got to go. It's just a whole different world. Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, I think I was like 10 years old, and I was traveling to Texas, and my parents were able to take me all the way to my seat in the plane to walk with me. Not that I needed it, because I used to travel by myself from the time I was 8, but just able to go all the way to my seat with me. And I'm like, wow. Even on a cruise ship, you used to be able to go on all the way to the room, and oh wow, your room looks nice.
Yeah.
They'll give that last call, and everyone has to go off. Now, oh my God, like you said, luggage out and just keep it rolling. You can't get out.
Yeah. So things definitely have changed, but hopefully after this, like we both discussed, it won't be the same, but hopefully it'll get as close to it as possible. I'm really hoping for a vaccine as soon as possible, so that we can all kind of get back to work, sending kids to school, and maybe life can get back to it.
Series back on track too, because we definitely want to see more episodes.
Yeah, and I want to produce more episodes. And something that else happened with the show was we had a crowdfunding campaign, but it started when everything shut down. Of course, I had no idea that they're going to shut everything down. So it didn't go as well as we had planned, because people had other priorities, which they should. As opposed to giving money to me for my show, because people were losing. 40 million people lost their jobs in 3 or 4 months. So they had more priorities than that. But we're diligent here, me and my production company, and my producers with me, and we're still going to make it work, regardless of what happens. Again, we're still going to keep it moving forward with the readings. And we actually had planned a photo shoot also, with them dressed up in 1920s and also, contemporary clothes and all of that. It's going to be a poster done, but we had to put some of that aside because, the world has changed. But when things open up, we're definitely going to get back to doing it and producing more episodes. We're going to have 8 to 10 for the first season. Then I'm going to hopefully drop the animation after that. And there we go. And then we're probably going to get our own Roku channel, something like that. Just for it to be on a universal platform where everybody can see it. Amazon is good, but if you don't have Amazon if you don't sign up to it, you may not have it. But a lot of people have Roku and the other Pluto and all of those because they're free. So for the most part, so yeah.
And that's a good thing. And maybe you could write it in there somewhere where there's a lunchtime talk with Steve in there or something.
Hey, you know what? Because we're going to be going back and forth in time periods. So especially with Half Past Jump Time. Because we're going to be in contemporary New York, so a lot of them are stars. So we may have a mock interview with you being on the show. So anything like that could happen. Absolutely, we can support each other.
You can show the contrast from back in the early 1900s when everything was on radio, and now it's on the web.
Correct. You actually that's right. I guess it's kind of like not visual radio, that wouldn't make any sense, but something like that, like that time period where now we're having a lot of podcasts. People, sometimes people don't have the visual; they're listening to voices now a lot more. So we're going full circle back to that whole, radio. I remember talking about that. Of course, there wasn't the internet, and then everything you listen to as far as music had to come over the radio or on Soul Train. That's the only way you knew that new music was coming out. Was those two ways: the radio or Soul Train. Like that's the only. Or thank God when BET came along. With all of the shows that they had on, that's when you're like, okay, there's new music out, because a lot of stations in Florida where I live, they weren't playing that. They, a lot of it wasn't R&B and rap. So.
Yeah, they used to have to get that mixtape. You record from 98.7 Kiss FM.
Exactly. And even here, when I first got to New York, people used to get those mixtape DVDs because that's a good way to get some new music out. Yeah, but now you don't see it as much anymore.
As a matter of fact, that's another thing too. When you tell kids about mixtape and everything, they're like, "Really?
What? Yeah,
Have a playlist.
I have no idea what that is.
Before you had a playlist.
Exactly. There was no such thing as download. You didn't download music. There was no such thing as that. So yeah, it is what it is. But
Those were the days. I tell you, I miss those days.
yep. But yeah,
You lived down here in Florida before, or where?
I actually was born and grew up in Florida. I was born in Jacksonville, and I grew up in Daytona Beach. So yeah, for many years I lived in Daytona Beach and graduated high school. Then I went to college in Atlanta.
Okay, so wait. So you left Daytona, which has one of the greatest HBCUs, to go to Atlanta.
No, man. And guess what? And my families were big boosters, and we went to the classic games every year with versus FAMU. And I know. Oglethorpe is my alma mater, but if I had to do it all over again, and my stepfather, to this day, we had not to this day, but we had arguments about that a lot. Like he wanted me to either go to Grambling, Morehouse, or Bethune-Cookman College, BCU, and I didn't. And now, if I'm thinking about going to grad school to get my MFA, I'm definitely going to go to an HBCU. I know I missed out on a lot because my first year at Oglethorpe, one of my I was a freshman, she was a sophomore. She actually transferred to Howard, and I was going to do it as well, but I guess I just became stuck in where I was, and I loved Atlanta at the time. I didn't really know DC, so I said, let me just stay school here. And I should have probably transferred to like Morehouse or somewhere at some AU center. I should have went there, but
Hey, God puts you where you are for a reason, all right?
Yeah, exactly. But I'm sure the experience would have been so much different. I did have, going to a liberal arts school and being one of the few black males on campus. It was a lot. It was a lot. I had a lot. Don't get me wrong. I won't take anything from it because it's my past, but it was a lot.
And so, and you said you were born in Jacksonville. Most people do this Duval, but
Duval, exactly, right, Duval County, exactly.
Yeah, because what's his name? Cat Williams said that. Cat Williams goes, "It's crazy when people know the county more than they do the city."
Yeah, Jacksonville. Duval County is the city of Jacksonville is entire Duval, right? It's the entire Duval County, right?
You say Duval County, but every time you say it, people go Duval.
Exactly. Yeah, I grew. My grandparents moved there. My mother grew up there. I grew up there for a little while, and then we moved to Daytona Beach. So,
Daytona is nice too. I like it up there.
Yeah, lots smaller. I had a really good childhood. When I reflect back on it, Daytona Beach was a good place to grow up. I had we can go to the beach all the time. Disney World was not that far. My grandparents weren't that far, so I had a good childhood. I definitely had a good time.
And if you really want to blow people's minds, tell them that you used to be able to drive right onto the beach, onto the sand.
Yeah, you used to drive right on the beach, right on the sand. Yeah, wow, right? People don't, it's wild now that I think about it. You could be sitting with your parents on the sand and cars would just be driving by. The water between you and the water, cars would just be driving by. But now that I think about it, that was dangerous. Like, I don't understand, because kids, when we were like, I would have my sister's hands and we would run in the water. My mother would say, make sure you hold their hands. And we would run, but we had to wait for the cars to go by. And I'm thinking, that doesn't seem very safe, but, it's Daytona. I loved it, though. I loved it being a kid there. It was fun.
Yeah. And that's another thing that blows people's minds, because they're going to be thinking, what? How's that even possible? How's that possible? Why would you do that?
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know why they ever came up with that rule and why they ever allowed it. But hey.
Yeah, I think, because, the raceway is there and it's kind of known for NASCAR and all of that. So I think a lot of the first contest started on the beach, I think. I think they used to race on the beach. I'm not sure, but I don't know. I don't think I know my history that much of Daytona as I used to. But I think that's where they started, and then they opened up the speedway. But you can double check. But I think maybe even stock cars, something like that, they used to race on the beach, which is why they let pedestrians do it. I think through the years, I think they limited it now. I think you have to park in a parking lot, and you can't really drive on the beach now.
Right? You can't.
Even environmental. I mean, I'm sure oil drippings and everything were in the sand back in the day, like in the 70s and 80s. So I'm sure environmentally, they probably figured out it wasn't a good idea to be doing that. So,
hey, quick question for you. What about like interns or anything like that? Do you need any of those? Because there are a lot of people that want to get into the business.
Sure.
And I mean, you remember back in the day, people would just come and bring your coffee for you just so that they could be around everything that's happening. Do you still?
For people here in the New York area, definitely when we open back up, I'd rather do paid internships. I don't like to do the unpaid ones because the unpaid ones I don't think it's very equitable because a lot of people can't take like I wanted to in college. There are plenty of internships that I had to pass over because I needed to pay my rent or whatever it is that I needed to do. So for me, it would be a paid internship. I definitely want people who are more interested in being producers and or writers, or behind the scenes, and just want to be in entertainment. I actually talked to my production company, my production members about that, because we definitely need to have more opportunities for people, and I definitely wanted it to be paid. So yeah, there's that.
I don't think you're gonna get an argument there.
yeah. I mean, I just think I don't want to be using people and then having them work for me 12 hours a day and then not pay. I don't see that. That's just not me. Even 8 hours. I want to pay them. So, but yeah, that's definitely something that we have been thinking about. Just giving me more people more opportunity, and if they want to, gradually rise up the ladder and start producing stuff with us, that's fine as well. If they want to stay in house, if they want to learn how to be an entrepreneur and take it, I'm not one of those people that's like you can't leave. Like if you feel like you've gotten everything from my company that you have, and you want to venture out and open up your own, I'll be more than. If you're really good with me, I'll definitely help you do whatever it is that you need to do to my capability. So.
Yeah, and it'll be a great way for you to collaborate with them, and I mean, the opportunities available, and that's the thing. There's always an opportunity. You know,
I mean, I have Half Past Jump Time, which is live action, and then I have the animation. So if someone wants to do either one of those, live action or animation, we have, we're probably gonna have 2 interns on each one from a production standpoint. So yeah, and I want to teach them everything that I know about budgeting and casting and finding the right vendors to help you as far as food and all that kind of thing, studios. Just teach them the ropes as much as I know and from who taught me. So just kind of passing it along.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. See, and so anybody that's out there in New York, if you guys are you're looking to get into the business, you don't know how, reach out to Terrence.
Right. They can reach out to me at you can send me an email to halfpastjumptime@gmail.com because that comes right to my phone and I'll respond to you as quickly as I possibly can. But that's the email. So if you're in the listening audience, doesn't matter what age to be. I'm not one of those people. If you want to get into it, because a lot of people may have second careers now. This is my second career, kind of. I was doing this for a while, but I also had a day job. But now this is my only thing. But hey, if you're 40 plus and you are wanting to get into it, you always thought you would. Reach out to me because we all need some opportunities.
Definitely, it's the time to pass the baton, and the thing is too, like I always tell people, it's not that there has to be just one of us in this field. I mean, you have so many different companies that make hamburgers and they all make $1 billion. Wendy's, Burger King, McDonald's, White Castles, all of them, and they make $1 billion. So why can't there be more than one of us in in this arena? And we all have our own niche, and we all do so many things. Because I have a lot of friends that do different web shows, and we help each other out because we have, number one, we're on at different times and we have different topics. Me, I do more of the interviews and and more of the serious topics, if you will. Then I have a friend, Melissa, and she has one. She does hers on Thursday night, and she does more music and entertainers, like producers, like music producers. So her does mostly in the music business. So Big Mac Kelly, he does more political. So it's like all of us, and we help each other out. So therefore, if you're doing your show and yours is, let's say, yours is the Half Past Jump Time and the animation, and you're on Amazon Prime, and then someone comes along and they say, hey, we're doing a Spike Lee type thing or something a little bit different. Hey, you help them, we help you. They're on Amazon Prime as well. We turn on the TV, we see more Black people on Amazon Prime.
Right. And I understand what you're saying with that last part. There aren't a lot of series. They're doing better, but there aren't a lot of African American led series on Amazon. I wish there were more. So there's barriers to be broken. I myself, it's funny. I had actually been thinking about either do I want to take these projects and take them to the level where they can be sold somewhere, like a Netflix or something, or do I want to create? I've been thinking about this recently, the last few months. Having my own platform, my own Netflix, because there are developers who have apps that can support my videos with my company logo and just be me. I could be my own Netflix and build myself from that. So
Exactly.
it's about keeping your own intellectual property, I think. Because if you're giving it all away, if I give away all these projects, so to speak, I won't be retaining any copyrights on it. They'll probably buy everything. So I'm at a point where I just want to keep that value for my company. So however it works out, whoever partners with me, I'll definitely, at least 5% or whatever the case may be, because copyright is, my creations are going to be my legacy. So I do definitely want to keep some part of that.
And that's like what was it? Ray Charles. He was able to keep everything, his masters, everything.
Right. Jay-Z got his masters, which is another example. Recently, from my world, so to speak. I don't know if you watch the show. It's called "I May Destroy You" by Michaela Coel. She's a British actress. She had a previous show called Chewing Gum. I don't know if you ever saw it, but if you do, check it out. She's really good actress. Anyway. She has a series called I May Destroy You Now, and I think there's a story that she pitched it to Netflix. They only wanted to offer $1 million on it. She turned it down because she wanted to retain her rights. I think it was like 5% of the copyright, just so that for her. But she ended up turning it down and went to the BBC, the UK network, and they gave her everything she wanted.
Wow.
So do you turn out $1 million and keep your percentage, your rights, or do you go somewhere else and see what you can do? And I thought that was very brave of her. Yeah, that was very, very brave. And I feel like that's a good example of that's why I'm saying I'm going to keep some of mine. Even I'm not at her level, but when I get to that level, whatever level I'm at, I'm still going to want to retain the rights. I don't want to give away everything because what do we have?
Exactly. And that's one of the biggest things, because what's so crazy is if you have if a person has the belief in themselves that they're going to be able to do it, then they should keep everything, because then you end up like, let's just use Ray Charles again, or Jay-Z as an example. I mean, could you imagine if Jay-Z had given up the rights to the song Empire State of Mind?
Right. That's a funny. Yeah.
How much did he made from that? Ray Charles, from all those other ones that 50 years ago they're still playing, and they're still making money.
Right. And so when once you do a commercial, they have to go to him instead of a publishing company, which probably his own publishing company. But I said he has control. He doesn't have to watch another publishing company or record label take his song and make money on. He may get a little bit, but they're going to get more. So now that you have your own masters, you can do your own. And with as far as what I do, if I keep 5%, even let's say I get Netflix, they give me my 5%. After it's all played out for maybe 4 years, 4 seasons, or whatever the case may be, if they want to redo it, guess what? I still own 5% of the copyright. I still get money from that. If I sell everything, then they can do whatever they want to do with it in the future, going down the line, which is fine. That's their right. But I think for my company, I think it's right for me to keep some of the intellectual property for myself, because that's the only way my company is going to be valuable. I can't, do everything and sell it. So that's kind of where I am.
And the thing is, too, I mean, God forbid there should be another pandemic in the future, but this pandemic actually brought back a lot of those old shows. People started watching old series again and old shows on Netflix again because they didn't have anything else to do while they were home.
Right. And there's not a lot of new series. I mean, good thing a lot of things were already finished and in the can, and they had been edited. But yeah, as you look now, there's not a lot of new content on, so people are searching for new content. So that's kind of, I want to fill that void. Hopefully when everything happens, lifts up and we're able to do some things, I'll be able to provide everybody. I have a couple more series I want to do. So now it's a planning stage now between that and the animation, but one or both of them going to come out hopefully within the next 3 months. We'll figure out a way to make it happen. So
all right, so you guys out there looking for that content to fill the void, the content that you already watched everything else or whatever, or you're looking for something new, Half Past Jump Time. All right, check it out on Amazon Prime. If you don't have Amazon Prime, go get it.
Right. And it's on Facebook also. We're also on our website, halfpastjumptime.com. But yeah, and then soon, hopefully, you guys will be able to see the animation, because we're in pre-production now. So hopefully by the end of the year, at least a teaser trailer you'll be able to see.
All right, sounds good. So, Ernst, thank you very much for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on your lunchtime talk. I had a great time, man. And the audience, please take a look at my show. If you have any reactions to it or comments, I am one of those creators. I welcome it. Tell me what you think about it. Tell me what could be done better, because you're my audience, and I want to please you more than than most. So yeah, let me know what you think.
And it's halfpastjumptime@gmail.com, right?
Correct. If they want to get in contact with me, absolutely.
So anyone out there that wants to be an intern, guys, this is the opportunity. You're hearing someone right now that's in the business telling you that he's looking for intern and paid internship at that. You can't beat it. You can't beat it. If you ever thought about doing it, at least send them your resume. Send them, if you don't have a resume, you're just not looking to get started, just send them a little note. Hey, this is why I want to do this. Boom.
Exactly. And I appreciate it too.
All right. Thanks very much, Terrence. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you being on the show. And I'm going to be looking for that animation series later on.
Hey, thank you, man. I can't wait to produce it and put it out.
All right. Thanks.
All right. You have a good day.
You too.
Okay.
All right, guys. There you go. Terrence Patterson. He has that show, Half Past Jump Time. Check it out. I'm telling you guys, go on Amazon Prime. Make sure that you get a copy, that you're watching it, or go on Facebook. Just Google it, and you're going to see all the different platforms that it's on. Half Past Jump Time. All right. As always, guys, it's coming up on the hour. If there's anything else that you guys want to hear about, want to talk about, shoot me an email, send me a message or something. Just hit me up. Go to my website, lunchtimetalkwithsteve.com. If you guys need any kind of services, we have under the Get Help section, we have things like suicide prevention, because in this time right now, we have a lot of people that are getting that cabin fever and, even maybe domestic violence or anything like that. There's services out there that can help you. If you need food, there's, Feed America. The link is right there on my website. No matter where you are in the country, they can, you can just put in your zip code and they'll tell you exactly where you can go and get food. If you need help with your light bill, your rent, whatever. Again, these links are right there on the website. Go ahead and go out there and get the help that you need. This is not the time for pride. This is not the time for shyness or any of that kind of stuff. I'm telling you guys, you're not the only one in the situation. Don't feel bad about it. But if you are in a better situation and you can help someone else, go ahead and help that person. All right, you are your brother's keeper, and you are responsible to make sure that the next person is getting something to eat. If you have a friend, a relative, whoever that doesn't have a vehicle, help them get to the food line to go get some food. We got to do this. All right. As always, guys, I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. All right. Peace, people.